Greetings! In this video I'm going to walk you through some of the very basics of PHP. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so at this point you've installed XAMPP and NetBeans and then the browser of your choice, but I prefer to use Chrome by Google because it's real easy to use and it's standards compliant for the most part, and it's just a really nice browser. So all of the tutorials that I'm going to show you in this course will be using Chrome is the browser of choice. But I would like you to use XAMPP and NetBeans for your development. Alright, so NetBeans is the program that I had you install as your development piece or your development software. And one of the first things that you'll need to do, and I gave you some instructions previously how to do this in Word, but I'll just go ahead and walk you through in the video. First thing I need you to do is open up NetBeans, and then you're going to create a project by going up to either File and New Project, or you can just click this button that kind of looks like a yellow cube that says New Project. So I'm going to click to create a new project, and for this course all of our projects will be PHP applications. That won't change. The project name should be whatever the project you're working on. For this example, I'm going to call this project PHP Basics. Now, one of the things when you name a project using NetBeans inside of XAMPP, best practices are to have the project all lowercase, no spaces. If you have a space, use an underscore instead of a space. So PHP Basics would be PHP underscore basics, like I've done here. I just go ahead and click next, and then I don't need to do anything fancy, so I'm going to go ahead and click finish. Okay. Now the next thing that we need to do is, you shouldn't have an index page yet because we're just creating individual scripts. We're not actually creating a site where you have an index page. So let's go ahead and rename this index.php right here where it says PHP Basics. This is the project we're working on. We have a source files folder, and then underneath there we have our PHP files. Okay? I'm going to right click where it says index.php, and you can either delete it, or in this case, hey, this thing's already sitting here. I'm going to go ahead and click rename. So go ahead and click rename, and I'm going to call this one hello underscore world. Okay? Because I'm going to create a page called hello world. Now the next thing I want to do is run my project. I haven't made any modifications to this file yet, added any code or anything, but I want to be able to make sure that I can launch and render the page. So I'm going to click on this big green button up here that says Run Project. Now you're going to see a setting here called index file where it says index.php. Go ahead and delete this. I've been doing this for so long that I've actually just kind of have this as second nature when I'm dealing with setting up these projects that don't have an index page. So that might have been something that I didn't tell you to do in week 1. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you to do it now because some people had issues with this. So go ahead and delete the entry for index.php, click OK, and then you'll need to click the green button again to run the project, and it should come up. I'm going to go ahead and click on hello world.php, and nothing will render because I haven't typed in any code yet. But my point is, when I click the green Run Project button, it did run my project. It launched the index for PHP Basics project here. Okay. Now, to reach these files manually, in other words, when you go to submit your homework, all you have to do is launch Windows Explorer. Now, I'm using Windows 8. It's brand new. Some of you may not have this yet, but the process is the same in Windows 7. I'm going to click on my computer. I'm going to go to my C drive. I'm going to go to the XAMPP folder, and then the htdocs folder, and then you'll see that in addition to all this other junk in here, I have folders for all of my different PHP projects. So in this PHP Basics right here, this is the folder where all of the files that I'm going to be creating in this video actually sit. And when you're all done, there are a few different ways to export or save a zip up a project and submit it as homework. But the easiest way to do it is just to go into XAMPP and htdocs, right click on the folder that you're working on or the project here, and then just send it to a zip file. Okay, compressed zip folder, and then you'll see down on the bottom here, you'll see that I have a new compressed zip folder called PHP Basics, and that's what you'll upload for your assignment starting in week 2. Okay, now let's go back to NetBeans, and I have a file here that says Hello World. Now, here's what, let me scoot this over a little bit. Here's what you're going to see in any PHP file. Now, when we're doing dynamic web page development, which is what we're learning in this course, most of our pages have HTML on them. Matter of fact, they're pretty much HTML pages with PHP scripts in them. Okay, or they're PHP files that print out HTML. One of the two. Okay, so what you're going to see when you first create a PHP web page is that you have your doc type, you have your HTML, head sections, body, and so on and so forth. But the PHP, for right now anyways, while we're doing the real basic stuff, what you see is an opening and closing PHP tag. So the opening tag starts with question sign or question mark PHP, and then closes out with the question mark. Okay, and then a code for PHP goes right there in the middle. So here are the very basics. If I want to print something out to the screen, for example, I'm just going to print out hello world. Then I type in the statement print, and then an open quote, double quote, hello, comma, world, and then an exclamation point, close quote, and then a semicolon to close out the statement. And what this will do is this will just simply print out hello world. If I run my project, or you can just hit Alt Tab and go back to Chrome, whichever one works best for you, doesn't matter to me, you'll see that my script prints out hello world. So that's sending something out to clear text to the page. Now let's say I want to create another file and I want to send out hello world with HTML. Then I would just click new file. Make sure that the project selected is the one you're working on. It should be by default, but just double check. Your file type, select PHP web page. Call this one, I'm going to call this one hello world with HTML. Okay. Click finish, creates a brand new web page. And inside my opening PHP tag, or after my opening PHP tag, and before I close everything out, I'm just going to print out some HTML. Okay, same thing we did with just printing out a regular string of text. I'm going to print out a paragraph. I'm going to say hello world. Okay. Not much difference there. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my project here on Chrome and click on hello world with HTML, and I'm going to view the page source, and you'll see that indeed we do have excuse me, we do have a paragraph here. Okay, versus hello world without HTML. Again, it's just text that's been printed to the screen. All right. Now, so that's the very, very basics of PHP, of printing out stuff to the screen. Now, one of the things that you're going to see or going to be using a lot are called comments. And this is how you make a comment in PHP. There's a couple different ways. You can do what's called a single line comment or a multi-line comment. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new PHP web page called comments. Okay. Now, all I'm going to do, and again, I'm not going to be able to render this file. It's not going to print anything to the screen because I'm just putting in some comments. Okay. So if I want to do a single line comment, I just type in / twice space and then whatever my comment is. And what this will do is this will put a comment from that given point on that line of code all the way to the end of that specific line. So I'll just say this is a single line comment. Okay, an example of a single line comment might be something like this. Let's say I want to print out howdy. Okay, I don't know, for some reason I like that word. It sounds informal and I kind of country, I guess, but just something that's just a real friendly greeting. Okay, so I'm going to use a single line comment. I'm going to say, boy, I sure do like this greeting. Okay, nice and friendly. You learn how to type. I'm illiterate. All right, there we go. All right, so that's a single line comment. A multi-line comment is pretty much the same as what you would see in CSS. It's a / asterisk, and then what the cool thing is about NetBeans is that it'll automatically create the closing comment and give you a couple of lines to work with. Okay. So this is what's called a multi-line comment. So a multi-line comment would be great at the top of a page, top of your code. If you have a bunch of comments you need to put in, something like this, for example. Let's say I've created a new web page, and I'll just say comments.php created on 10/31 12 by Todd Jameson. Wow, isn't it great? Okay. Anyways, this would be a good example of a multi-line comment. So that's how you comment your code. You're going to be commenting your code a lot. Okay? All the time. Every time you write code in my class, I'd like you to comment on what it does. One of the reasons that we use a lot of commenting is to let people know what our code is doing. Now, sometimes I try not to, but I may get a little sloppy and just type in the code, especially when it's things like bug hunts, where I'd like you to go find a bug. I'm not going to comment right in your code, hey, here's where the bug is, because I'd like you to find it. But when I'm providing answers and solutions, I guess it's the same thing. And when I provide solutions to you, I comment it quite well usually, so you know exactly what you're looking at. Okay? Not perfect, but I try to do a pretty good job at it. Alright, so those are basic comments. Now, I'm going to show you a new, another thing that we have, and that's called a variable. Okay? We're going to learn a lot about variables, constants, things like that later in the course, but you're going to start using them very early in week 1, which we've already had a taste of, and then all the way through. Okay? But here are the very basics. I'm going to go ahead and create a new PHP web page, and I'm going to call this one variables. Okay. Now, here's how a variable starts. It starts with a $, the name of the variable, and its value. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and comment this out so it doesn't screw up the code here. Okay, so you can pretty much put anything you want in a variable, for the most part, in PHP. Okay. Here are a few examples. If I want a number, let's say my age right now is 35. Okay. So I would have a variable called age, and it would be = 35. Now, one of the things about variables that are a real good rule of practice, real good rule of thumb here, they do not begin with a number. Okay, they're lowercase. This is very different from some other programming language which use things like camel case and all that. We don't. They are all lowercase, and they do not have any spaces. Okay, if you need to do something like this, my favorite color, for example, you'll use an underscore instead of a space. So again, it begins with the $, its favorite underscore color = blue. Okay. Now this is what's called, the first one is a number. The second type is a string. Now there are a bunch of other different types of variables, but these are the two fundamental types of variables: numbers and strings. Okay. Numbers do not have quotes around the value. Strings do. One of the things is with PHP is that you do not have to declare your variables. Okay, so I don't have to do something like this. Okay, or actually, sorry, it's a different programming language. I do not have to declare a variable. I can just create one out of the blue and not give it a value. Okay. Now, some people will do this. I don't do this. If I'm writing a script, I don't put any variables that don't have any values, that simply just exist to exist. That's bad coding practice. It leads to a lot of bugs. It leads to having to go through and figure out, okay, God, I've got all these variables, but which ones do I actually use? Do not create a variable in your script unless it is one you are going to use. I see this every time I run this course, and it confuses the hell out of people when they try to go and debug their code. So, including me, when I'm sitting here looking at it, trying to decipher what you've done. So, again, if you're going to use a variable, like say for example you're building a form, and you just want to know somebody's name, their email address, and their password. Okay, you should only set up variables for their name, their email address, and their password, not other things in there, because if you're not using them, there's no point in having them there, because there's security risks, there's buggy code, and all kinds of other crap that we just don't need. So again, make it nice and clean. If you're going to use variables, only use what you're actually, or only put in there in your scripts what you're actually going to use. Yeah, I'll get off my soapbox there. So those are the basics for variables. And let's see, what else did I have for you? I think that was... I think that's pretty much it. Oh, yeah, another thing that... it's nice to know how to do this. Not really all that important just yet. It will be later. But that is to create a script that shows you the version of PHP that you're running and all of the configuration options that your current PHP server is set up with. Here's how you do that. I'm going to go ahead and create a new PHP web page, and I'm going to call this one PHP Info. And this is a script you'll want to keep on hand because you're going to use it a lot. Okay, if you're a programmer. So let's say you're creating a PHP-based website for a customer, and they go, well, host it over on our server. Okay, I can do that, but I need to know, is the server capable of running PHP, and if so, what version does it use? What options does it have? Which right now really aren't all that important for us to know, but in the future, you're going to use that a lot. So all you need to do is, inside your opening PHP tag, just type in PHP info, and then a open parent and a close parent. Alright. Go ahead and run your project, and then click on PHP info. And what you'll see is, and this is the PHP version that's installed on my local computer here with XAMPP. Sorry, I had to read this for a second because I'm running Windows 8. I just installed it, and so it looked a little funky. Took me back a little bit. Alright, so again, not all this is all that important, and it's probably going to look like Greek at first, and that's okay. What you need to know primarily is we're running PHP version 5, version 4. Are we not running PHP at all and need to find a different hosting provider? I've had that happen to me when setting up sites for people. Alright. Now, one of the things that I do want to show you real quick, and we're going to get into it heavily in weeks, I think in week 3, pretty much. Yeah, week 3. And that's functions. Now, PHP info is a built-in function for PHP, and this is what a function looks like. It has a name, okay, and then you have an open parent and a closed parent, and then anything that, whatever options, okay, go inside these between this open parent and the closed parent. Again, right now, real basic, not a big deal. Not going to show you how to make a custom function yet, because that's way above our pay grade at this point. But this is what's called a function, and you're going to see these a lot. You're going to build them. You're going to love them. They're really cool what you can do with them. All right, so that is pretty much it for your real PHP basics. And let's go ahead, and after this I'll go ahead and create another video that walks you through some of the stuff that we're using for week 2. And we're going to start off with some numbers, and then we'll get into using strings. So as always, if you have any questions, please, as soon as you view this video, if you have any questions, just shoot me a message on Twitter, or shoot me an email or something like that, and I'll get right back to you. Thanks.